being challenged, we actually exclude those items from the sale until the family resolves those issues, because they typically arise, in my world, with recreational vehicles, so with a lost title. So who actually owns the boat? Who actually owns the snowmobiles? And so on and so forth. So you can imagine these can be important to someone who spent a lot of time with a family member engaged in those activities. So there's not just a financial component, there's an emotional component to the value.
Hi, I'm Caroline Gow in the Baird and Warner Glenbrook office, and today I'm meeting with Bruce Treadway. He's the founder of Caring Transitions of the North Shore, a well-known estate sale company. And Bruce is an appraiser who does estate sales, and thank you for inviting me to your project today. So we generally get a lot of questions about, well, how do we get prepared for estate sales? So can you explain to us the difference between getting ready for an estate sale versus a downsizing sale?
Sure. The traditional estate sale is executorship, meaning someone has passed away and now a family member or someone else is the court-appointed executor, and they have two objectives. The first is to collect the assets, and second, distribute the assets. Downsizing is different. Up until about 3 or 4 years ago, 95% of my clients were executors or trust officers. Downsizers are people who typically have a fully furnished home somewhere else, and they decided for one reason or another, usually has to do with property taxes, that they're not staying in Illinois. So once they make the decision to move, they find that the new house is smaller than the old house, and they can't take it all with them. That's when I get a phone call.
Okay, makes sense. What are the variables to an estate sale and the different cost of the client?
There are a few drivers for the cost of an estate sale. The first is the complexity of the sale. Where is it located? How easy is it to access for customers? And what's the content of the estate sale? What's in the home? How desirable are the contents? The second is the full scope of the work that they're asking us to do. Usually our clients aren't simply looking for us to come in and sell stuff. They may be looking for a public estate sale, a private estate sale, and or an online auction. And afterwards, things that aren't sold, they may want donated. And they ideally are looking for a broom-swept, empty home. Those are all factors that go into the amount of time, labor, effort that's required, and thus the cost.
Bruce, do you also manage, after the sale, the things that are donated to charities as well as preparing for the sale?
Absolutely. Most of my clients are looking for a stress-free experience, so they want the house broom-swept empty when it's all said and done. So we'll set up for the sale, price everything, market it, conduct the estate sale. Then we offer the family a couple of days to come back into the house for things that didn't sell. They should take whatever they want to take that's meaningful to them, or if they want to find a good home for it themselves. Then what we'll do is come back and take down a detailed inventory of everything that didn't sell, along with the fair market value. If it's appropriate, I can write up a certified appraisal with IRS Form 8283, so they get the appropriate deduction. And then we'll pack everything, load it up, and deliver it to a charity, a 501c3. There may be some debris or other things lying around that were not donatable. We'll do what we need to do to make sure the home is broom-swept empty when we hand the keys back over to the client with a check.
And that works great in my world because I need to have it broom swept ready to go for closing. So this is a very great resource.
Right. This is, we get a lot of kudos for that.
So Bruce, how are you able to manage with an executor of somebody that lives out of state?
More than half my clients live out of state, and I've been an executor 4 times. That's too many, but look at what I've been doing for a living for some time now. So when someone lives out of state, it comes down to this: lots of communication. So lots of emails. We make sure that everybody's on the same page. Often there are other beneficiaries involved. I want them copied on every email. And if we don't do that, what happens is the executor ends up being the communications ping pong ball between myself and all of their siblings. We can simplify it just by communicating.
Excellent. of issues come up when a family member doesn't agree on who should get what, and how can you resolve these issues in absence of a will? And one more question is, what happens to items where ownership is being challenged?
Okay, so several questions there and a couple of different answers. When ownership is being challenged, we actually exclude those items from the sale until the family resolves those issues, because they typically arise, in my world, with recreational vehicles, so with a lost title. So who actually owns the boat? Who actually owns the snowmobiles? And so on and so forth. So you can imagine these can be important to someone who spent a lot of time with a family member engaged in those activities. So there's not just a financial component, there's an emotional component to the value, and we need to find the title.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. In terms of addressing issues that arise when there's no will, we actually don't conduct an estate sale until I see the letters of office. So a judge has to have reviewed everything or made a decision and appointed someone as the administrator of the estate.
And that's going to be your point person then?
It is. That is my point of contact.
Okay.
And occasionally, sometimes we have the issue of family members disagreeing in terms of who should get what. So I often get called into estates to provide a certified appraisal of those items. That way the executor is covered and the family members can all feel assured that an objective, qualified third party has come through, looked at the items, examined them closely, and provided an estimate of fair market value so that they know who is getting what, and the executor can continue on with equitable distribution of the estate.
I can definitely see value in that, because that's going to be an objective person that's not have interest in things that can help you decide.
Right.
And why does it make sense to use a professional versus doing it on your own?
Well, hiring a professional will save you time and usually some measure of stress. You make the decision to hire a professional essentially when you don't want to put in the amount of time, effort, stress that's usually involved while you're normally going through the grieving process, and now you have this administrative burden. That's where a professional can help.
Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for having me at your project today. I've learned so many different things that are going to help my sellers and other family members that are going through a difficult time. So if you'd like to reach Bruce, he can be reached at
my website, www.ctnorthern.com, or my email address directly. It's the name of the company, bairntransitions@gmail.com.
Fantastic. Thanks for inviting us today.
Thanks.
These are the kinds of invaluable insights I share with my clients when they choose to work with me. Hire me today.